Hey there everyone, and welcome to Corey Loses, where today we're going to be restarting our Modding 101 series. So in this series, I'm going to be giving different modding tutorials. We're mostly going to be dealing with Empire at War and maybe some Sins, since those are the games that I edit. But maybe in the future we'll branch out to some other stuff. But for this video, I'm going to just be showing the basic file types involved in Empire at War modding and how to edit existing Empire at War mods. This video does assume that you have some knowledge on how to install Empire at War mods. There is another video on the channel that goes over how to do that, and I'm going to be redoing that video when we release Imperial Civil War, but I do assume that for this video you already have a mod installed that you want to edit. In the future we'll go over how to create your own mod folder and how to set that up as well, but for this one we're just going to be editing an existing mod. So for me, I'm going to be editing just the source folder mod. This will all work for whatever you want to edit. But I'll also have a link in the description to where to get all the source files. Every program I'm using today and all the source files are available in those links. So if you just want to check down there, you can get your own copy of this, which you just extract to your mods folder like any other mod. So the first and most common file type you're going to be dealing with Empire at War are your XML files. And this can be edited using Notepad++. You can use just old regular Notepad, but I do prefer Notepad++ because it highlights all the syntax. I'm just going to go to a unit file, and you can generally tell from the file names what they're going to be doing, like these story plots. These are all related to events that happen in the game. Then for Forces of Corruption, every unit they added has its own file, and for Base Empire at War, every unit was sort of compiled into these category files. So space units capital, space units corvette, space units fighters. You can usually tell what's in the files just by looking at that. And most mods will follow a similar file structure to that. Or you might have to do a little bit of searching around, but all the unit coding, all that is going to be in your data/XML folder, or any subfolders within that. So I'm just going to open space units capital, and we are going to look at what these files look like. So this is the thing I like about Notepad++. There are some other other programs you can use to edit them as well. The basic Notepad just has like black text everywhere, so you can't see the different the syntax that you can't really see as easily if a tag is broken. It's like if I were to delete this, then see in Notepad++, the whole thing turns black, and you can pretty easily tell that there's an error. You can also see that this tag, where it opens and closes, is not correct. So we can just put that back in, and now everything's working properly. With just regular Notepad, I'll see if I can pull that up. I don't even know if I have it. Edit with Notepad. Here we go. So it just looks like this, and it's not fantastic. So that's why I prefer Notepad++. Again, there's a link to that in the description. So we'll move on from there. Again, I'm not going to cover any specifics in this particular video. This is just a setup video for anyone who needs to know what sort of files they're looking for. So that's your XML files. The other thing that Notepad can be used for is the Lua files. So you go into source here again. This basic file structure applies to every mod. I'm just using the source files because that's the easiest example for me to give. Then you can go to the game object files. So these Lua files, they're a bit more complicated. You probably won't be dealing with them too much, especially at first. We'll get into some specific tutorials on those a bit later on. But these can also be edited in Notepad++. You can also use more complicated, I guess, programming environments for that. But Notepad++, especially if you're just making basic edits, that's going to be enough for you. So these are the object scripts that are attached to different units. These are how you set up, like in Thrawn's Revenge, this is how raid fleets are set up. A lot of the AI editing comes through this. So if you want to, for example, make the AI build a new unit in Space Tactical Skirmish, so you go into the data folder for the mod, then scripts, then AI, space mode, and then this file here called Tactical Multiplayer Build Space Units Generic, which is a mouthful, but it's just go in here, and this has a list of all the different stuff that the AI is going to be trying to build in Skirmish. So if you add a new unit and you add it to the Skirmish build bar, which is probably something we'll be going over when we cover adding new units, you just come into this file and you just add it into this list. So that covers XML and Lua, how you edit those. The next thing that you'll need to know how to do, or the next thing that's useful to have, is the .dat editor. So here, this is how you edit the text file for the mod and you add different strings. So if you ever see a string come up as missing, like where it's supposed to be the name of the unit, that's how that's assigned. So let's look at another little bit of code here. You have, so text unit calamari cruiser. This is telling the game what to load out of the basic text file. You're not actually putting the whole text string in there. And the way you edit that is you go into source, data, text, and then you'd want to open this master text file. Open, you can use the data editor for this. Then make sure you navigate to the correct thing that you're editing. And text, master text file, and then all the different strings for the game are in here. So over on the left, where it says name, that is the name as it's described in the code. You can switch it between alphabetical and reverse alphabetical, or you can sort it by the actual text in the field. But you just do edit, insert, paste text unit calamari cruiser. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Copy, paste, and then this is where you'd put the text, but that string already exists, so it's going to give me an error if I try to do that. But that's how you edit the text files. The next program that's good to have is the map editor, actually. So I'm not going to open that up, but that's just how you... I left the link in the description just so you guys would have access to that more easily. But the map editor is how you edit the .ted file. So if you go into, I don't know if I actually put the maps in here. Art, yeah, here I did. Source, data, art, and then all the maps are in here. So that's where you go to edit that. We'll do some more, again, we'll do some more specific tutorials on how to do specific things later. This is just to show you how those work, or how to edit those files. So these are all just map editor files. You can just open those in the map editor. And the next thing, the last thing I believe, there's the link for the source file. Again, this is all going to be in the description. And then the MEG editor. This is only if you're missing certain files. So if you go into corruption/data, then you'll see all these .meg files. These are basically all the kinds of files that a mod would have, but they're all packed in together for the base game. It's just compressed that way. The game tends to read them. There's some files that the game will only read if they're in that kind of a format, but sometimes you'll be trying to edit a mod. I'm not sure that I'll have any examples here. But let's just say the Fall of the Republic mini mod from like 10 years ago. You were looking for the story files, but they're not in the mod you're trying to edit. You want to re-add something from the base game. The way you'd get those files, if you don't already have access to the source files, which there's a link to download anyways, or if you're missing a map file that you want to edit, or anything like that, you're going to get the MEG editor. You're going to run that, and you can open corruption data. So we said we wanted a map file. You go in here. This is a list of all the maps in the base game. You're just going to extract the file, and it'll just extract to wherever you tell it to. You can just copy that out. Actually, I'll do it right here. So we want data corruption here. We're gonna get the Bonnerton map. So that should corruption, and here it is. So this is the map we wanted. We're just gonna cut it, and we were theoretically gonna put it in our Fall of the Republic data, our maps folder. Paste it, and that's just how you add a previously existing base game file that's not in your not in the mod you're trying to edit. And that'll work for whether you're looking for a specific XML file, you're looking for a map, a model, a texture. And the textures, if you want to edit any of those, I'm going to cover, again, other stuff like that a bit more specifically later, but let's just take a look at what that does. So you're going to go into data, art, all of them go in textures. We have Vader. So these can either be edited in Photoshop or GIMP. Those are the two most common. Photoshop is obviously a paid program. GIMP is a free version. It doesn't have quite as many powerful tools as Photoshop does, but if you're just doing like a simple recolor or something, all you have to do is that you open it, you're in Photoshop here, or you're in GIMP, and there you go. We have Purple Vader here because I think I redid this for something in the Discord, and you can just do whatever you want to the texture in here, and you just save that. And if it's using the same name as it was initially, so if we resave that as EI Vader something else, or just EI Vader, it would overwrite Vader's texture within that mod, and you'd have a recolored Vader. Again, in the future, I'm going to go over how to do stuff like add different colored variants of units, add whatever you really want. But for now, just covering how to do the different file editing. So the big thing I've left out so far are the models files. So this is a bit trickier. So technically, you need 3ds Max 6, 7, 8, or 9 to edit them. To export to Allo or to import the Alamo files, but those files those programs are not supported by Autodesk anymore, so you can't get them. However, someone is currently working on a Blender plugin, so eventually that should become editable for people who don't already have the programs that you need to edit them. Which it's annoying that it doesn't exist right now and that you can't really get the program. But hopefully when the Blender plugin comes out, it'll be able to do the same things, and we'll go over editing models a little bit more then. In the meantime, I might do a couple regular 3D modeling tutorials, because it doesn't really matter what program you make the models in. You can use Blender, you can use Wings 3D, you can use 3ds Max, you can use Maya. As long as they export to a common format, a really common one would be the .obj format. A lot of people use that. You can make the models in whatever program you want. It's just the rigging and exporting for Empire at War specifically that requires using 3ds Max. All right, so I think we've covered pretty much everything, just the basics here on which folders and files you need, or which programs you need to edit which files. Again, we're going to get into more specifics on how to actually do stuff in the future, but this should be a good primer for everyone on what programs you need. So thanks for watching. If you have any requests for specific tutorials and you want to leave those in the comments, please do that, and I'll try to get to them as regularly as I can. In the past, I was really bad for posting these videos. I'm going to try to do this maybe weekly, but we'll see. It really depends on what people want to learn. And the first thing I'm thinking of doing is just the custom ship names, because that was a very common request. So that might even be coming later this week. But thanks for watching, everyone. Hoping you're going to enjoy the series here. And if you do have any other specific questions you want to ask me, you can either leave those in the comments, or if you look in the description, in addition to the links to all of these programs, there is also a link to the community Discord for the server, or a community Discord server for the channel. And we have some channels in there for Thrawn's Revenge, for Empire at War, for Star Trek Armada 3, for Golden Bane. But if you want to just pop into the Empire at War channel on the Discord server, you can leave your question there, and either myself or someone else will try to answer it. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.